Hello. Hi, everyone. Bear with us. We are going to be joined with Shadin El Daif today from Osos. We have questions for her and about herself, her goals, and hopefully you guys can tune in to get to know her better and her plans for the future of Lebanon. Hopefully she gets elected, of course, with your support. Bear with us one moment. Thank you guys so much for joining. Hi, Shadin. How
Hello,
are you? Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Can you hear me well?
Yes, I can.
Good, good. Give us just a little moment, please.
Yes,
Let's make
take
sure
your
we get
time.
some people in here. How's your morning going so far?
Very good. Thank you for hosting us.
Of course, it's the least I could do, and I'm glad you were able to join us.
Thank you.
Yeah. And everyone that's tuning in, if you have any questions for us or for Shadin, please just wait till the end of our questions for this discussion, and you're more than welcome to ask, and we will do our best to answer those questions. We'll give it another like 30 seconds or so, and we're good to go.
It's midnight your time, right?
Yes, it is. Tried to make it work. Had to be late, no problem. We do what we can.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Would you like to get started?
Yes, let's get started.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. So, Shadin Al Daif, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your morning to have a discussion with us, answer some questions, and hopefully some questions that the people may have as well. And we appreciate everything you're doing and you know your efforts to try to help our country.
Thank you, Omar, and thank you for the support and helping us to reach out for Lebanese expats as well.
Of course, it's the least we can do. I mean, we all need to help each other out, and I've decided to take this initiative to do my best. And thank you as well, you know, for because it takes courage to do this. So I do appreciate your courageousness.
Thank you, Omar.
Alrighty, thank you. So can we get to know a little about, can you tell us like a little bit about yourself before we get started with the questions? Just a little brief.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna be introducing a bit myself and also Osos, where the group I belong to. So I am Shadan Daif. I am a Lebanese citizen who had been living in Lebanon most of my life, and I'm a lawyer. Practicing law in Lebanon, and I'm also a legal researcher. So what I do is I do research about public policies in Lebanon, and I have many publications on these issues. At the same time, before the revolution, I used to be a civil activist working in the region where I come from, in Sgharta mainly, my activism. And with the revolution, my time, I spent most of my time as a political activist. As for Usos, I'm not sure if you're going to be asking later about it, but it's the political movement I belong to since more than 1 year. And I won't give more details because I think we will be introducing it more in our discussion.
Yes, we will. Well, thank you for that. And it's definitely great to have someone with your expertise, you know, taking a step forward to try to help Lebanon. And actually very interested that you're a lawyer. It's really really cool
Yeah.
and respectable, of course, not just cool. Okay, so before we get into Osos, uh, what what made you join the October 17 revolution?
Yes. In fact, it was on a Thursday night, so I was there since the beginning. It was, I guess, after work, and we heard that there are some protests. So me and some of my friends, we went. The number was still very shy. So at one moment we said, okay, it was after the WhatsApp issue. And when they raised, I'm not sure if people are familiar. So when the fees for WhatsApp in Lebanon were increased, so at the beginning there was no much people. Then we waited a bit and we saw like rivers of people arriving to downtown Beirut. In fact, this movement, which is a protest movement, goes beyond, yani, it goes before the 17th of October. And as a person, I was always with these protests. I was against the conduct of the public policies in Lebanon. We all wanted change. We all knew that our country was not moving forward. On the contrary, it was moving backwards, and that corruption was the main principle of conduct of public affairs in Lebanon. So being part of the October 17 was very normal, and it wasn't something out of the ordinary for me.
Got you, got you. Yeah, I mean, it's the problems have been going far beyond October 17, and this was just one of the major events that happened more recently, and it's great to know that you've been active throughout, you know, even before then. So I really
Yeah.
appreciate that because we needed all the support. We needed a lot of people out there, and it's great to know that. So next question is, why did you join, or why did you choose to join USUS movement?
Yes. So with the beginning of the revolution, one of its main feature in Lebanon was its decentralized feature. So rather than having like the campaign in 2015 about the garbage, it was mainly in Beirut. What happened is with this revolution, it was decentralized. So we had in each area a protest of this or a group of this revolution. So in our region, in the north, in Casa Zgharta, there was a group, Zgharta Zawiya Tantafid, and it was always protesting. For years, the number was not very high. But what happened is that so the revolution took place in 2019. So around the end of 2020, the group decided to turn into something more institutional. And with the beginning of the year 2021, the name USUS, which stands for grounds, because for us, we want to recreate the grounds of this country, because for us, we lost the grounds of a state, of a rule of law state. So the group was declared more than 1 year ago. I was part of the dozens of people who created USUS at the time. We're speaking about more than 20 persons at the beginning, and now we reach more than 150 active members, in addition to thousands of people who believe in our cause, in our region, and in our Casa, in Zgharta Casa. And so the group USUS was created more than 1 year ago, and because we managed to institutionalize it and to create a specialization within it, with councils interested in legal and economic, social, technology, political, environment. So we had the different specialization. So we were able to benefit from all of the members' specialties, skills, etc. USUS is, since today our discussion is with mainly with people watching from outside Lebanon, our group USUS, the membership is half from people not living in Lebanon. So from the Lebanese diaspora, who were putting a lot of their time and efforts from abroad to our groups. And now we will be later talking about the primaries. The primaries groups is mostly, the membership of this group is mostly from Lebanese who are outside Lebanon, giving their time to follow up on it. So that's USUS. Due to COVID-19, we were able to benefit from the online platform. So most of our work was online. We managed to do conferences, workshops, and some campaigns on the ground, of course. But the fact that the word has turned into an online platform helped us to reach more people. And USUS, with the time, when we decided to work on the election, because our primary goal is not the parliamentary election. Our goal is to create something from our region to boost local development and to contribute to the rule of law that we believe in. So for us, we needed to have something coming from outside the center, outside the capital, and that is what we managed to do. And then later, when we, according to the Lebanese law, the electoral district for Zgharta, where Zgharta is placed, is with Psharre, Kura, and Betroun. So we started reaching out to these groups and individuals that have the same beliefs as us in these regions, and with time and discussion, we were able to come up with Shamaluna.
Thank you so much for that. I do appreciate the details, and I'm sure many of the viewers do as well. And hopefully more people will be inclined to know more about USUS. Now, in regards to Shamaluna, we know you played a big role, as well as many others, in the success of the organization. So can you tell us a little bit more about Shamaluna?
Yes, Shamaluna is a political coalition formed of 4 groups, each group from a different Kaza. الفكرة الحر in Psharre, مجتمع الكورة المستقل, Independent Society in Kura, and مشروع بديل in Betroun. So we launched the coalition, the political coalition, a few months ago, and then we started, and its main aim was the election, the parliamentary election. So we immediately started to see how we're gonna choose our candidates, and we created a system which is the primaries election, which is open to all of the people who can vote in the upcoming May election, who can register and choose our candidate as an opposition, as a revolutionary groups.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the primaries, I believe, are coming up very, very soon. Hopefully you could tell us more about that. But before we get to that, can you tell us how the primaries actually work?
Yes, definitely. So the primaries were launched, like, I guess, around 1 month ago. And for each Kaza, its own governance committee, if we want to say. And each governance committee invited people to be candidates. Of course, the invitation either comes from the group of this Kaza, or it's either someone who is member of these groups, or invitation are sent to opposition and revolutionary groups to present their candidates if they're active in this Kaza. And accordingly, I will give the example of Zgharta, where I am one of these candidates. We have 5 candidates in Zgharta. USUS has myself, Shadan Daif, and Michel Douaihe. There's الكتلة الوطنية, who has Gistel Sim'an, Lebanon with Fadi Jelwan, and also Dr. Paul Tabar, who is with Lebanese Association for expats, for the Lebanese expats in Australia. And now, last Sunday, we closed the door for registration of voters. We have around 1,600 voters, which was even more than what we expected, because the process to register requires adding some details plus a copy of your ID or passport. And now this Sunday, in 2 days, the election takes place. And of these 5 candidates, we choose the 3 who will continue to the final election in May.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much for letting us know and letting everybody know. It sounds like it's been building up, 1,000+ voters. That's great, especially since they exceeded your expectations. And hopefully after this, you get some more support. You definitely deserve it. So can you tell us a little bit more about your political vision, or actually, can you tell us about the political vision of the organization?
Yes. So the main idea, we are running in a region where usually it's families who had been taking the power, the same families or groups. So our main idea behind the organization is creating a healthy and a really democratic political party. By healthy and democratic, we are talking about a party that holds people accountable. When you take a political decision, you should be held accountable and not you continue in power because people are with you just on an emotional level, not rational. So that is what we are trying to create. First of all, before our vision, we are speaking about a political democratic party where there's always a change in the governing bodies and in the people who are responsible. That's why we have elections. We elect a new general coordinators, we elect a new councils and new coordinator for these councils. So that is our first aim, is to create a new group in our region where the youth can see itself and where they can contribute. And for this reason, anyone joining USOS now will have the same impact on USOS as a person who was at the beginning of its creation. As for the vision, political and economic vision, of course, we see a country, we see Lebanon as a country, as a modern country, as a country who has a strong economy, a solid economy, not built on sectors, only sectors like tourism or the bank sector or the real estate sector. What we would love to see is to see an economy built on agriculture, on everything that is productive, that you can do exports, not only importing, because one of the issues in Lebanon today is that we don't have a balance in the USD exchange due to the fact that we only import and pay dollars and we never export and receive this currency, in addition to other problems. For us, Lebanon should have a separation of power. The executive, the legislative, and the judiciary should be there should be a separation of power, a clear one, and that's why one of our priorities is to adopt a law on the independence of the judiciary by the parliament, which is one of our main goals. Another goal, especially that we are a group that stems from the suburbs, not from the center, is to have decentralization, because Lebanon has no local development, and we would love to see that our municipalities and local authorities can be able to push local development either by giving them more authority or access to funding and public resources, which is not the case today. There's much more ideas in our vision. One of the most important ones is the sovereignty of the state on all of its territory. So this should mean that the financial and the monetary policies should be created by the Lebanese government and institutions, and we cannot let banks control these policies. And in addition, and also importantly, we don't want to see any more weapons outside the rule of the security institution, Lebanese official institutions. This means Hezbollah weapon. This means any other weapon, including the Palestinian weapon in the camp, that is not also only bad for the Lebanese state, but also for the Palestinian living in the camps who are hostages to this rule of power, or instead of rule of law. So these are some of our ideas. Another main component that we like to highlight is environment. We are people who are very interested in keeping and preserving our environment while boosting the local empowerment.
Very, very well understood. Thank you so much for being as detailed as you can. I have another question for you, and hopefully you can answer this. Were you ever part of any of the political parties in
No,
the past?
I
No?
was never, no, just for 1 month. When I was at school, it was in the period where President On was coming back from exile, and we were we were interested by this fact. And then on the airport, the way he shouted at people, like directly, I started disliking the behavior he did. And then with the agreement of Mar Mikhail, it was a dead end for me, because I'm a person who's more interested in the Lebanese state than in the Lebanese factions and groups. So I can say I was never part of a group. The first political group I was part of is USOS. And in 2018, it was the first time I participate in a parliamentary elections, and I chose also the civil society over any traditional group.
Great. So you answered my second question, which was what made you leave? So that's great. And
Leave, yes.
yeah, I mean, political parties have been in existence since the start of Lebanon, and many of our families were probably part of it, so it's definitely understood. And I respect your choice to leave. So what are some of your goals, your primary goals, and how do you expect to accomplish them?
When as personal goals,
Yeah,
yes.
in the
So
organization, yeah. But your
yeah,
personal goals, correct.
I will talk more about my personal goals. هلا, I'm a person who's very interested in public education, public free education for all Lebanese, and having the same quality education all of the Lebanese territory, because there's a lot of differences and gaps in the education, the quality and the availability of this education. I believe that with education we can change the society, and for long times public schools took over private schools. And with that, we had a discrimination between the Lebanese citizens, because those who were able to access private schools had better education than public schools. So that's one of my priorities, to work on this issue. Another one is women's rights. Not saying it as a cliche, but we have a serious issue with the personal status law for the Lebanese women. We're talking about marriage, divorce, and who are taking responsibility for the kids. We have 18 different communities, religious communities, and we have around more than 15 different religious laws. So the age of marriage and many other conditions change between these, and always at the expense of women. Of course, we live in a country that has been witnessing a collapse for the past years. So we will definitely be looking more at issues, at different issues at first, such as the independence of the judiciary, such as the decentralization in Lebanon, and boosting the economy through changing the form of this economy, and of course adopting laws that would preserve the money of the people that were stolen by Lebanese banks.
Great. Thank you. And so, how do you plan on standing out from the competition?
I will, yeah, we can say as a group or as Shamaluna, the whole list can stand out because we have a vision, we have programs. We are not people who did participate before in the politics and in the corruption in the state. We have a vision, we have an electoral program. We are people who are on the ground. We are expanding on the ground. We have different ages who are working, and we started we are people who will not be only talking. We are people who are taking action on the ground. We have many projects that we started implementing as OSOS, and that we will continue in implementing. Some are linked to the issue of garbage and recycling, and we have pilot projects that we started with a municipality, and once it succeeds, we will be doing it in other municipalities. And we have other projects related to SMEs, small and medium groups. And what we are planning to do is to create a hub that can allow our youth to have ideas and be entrepreneurs. So what I'm trying to say is that we are people who are showing already the change and implementing it on the ground. And we are part of the revolution. We are part of the people who are paying the price of the collapse. We are not like people coming from a rich background. We are persons who are living every day the impact of the collapse on our daily lives, and we see the urgency of taking action and changing what has happened over the more than 30 years.
Thank you. So if you're successfully elected, what can people expect? What are some of the laws you'd like to impose or change?
Mm. You know, it goes beyond laws. I will say, firstly, at the level of the parliament, what can people expect is transparency, because now we're electing people. We have 128 deputies, but rarely we know why there's no work in the parliament, in the Lebanese parliament. The real issues and the real obstacles that are happening there, people, especially, are not aware of it. So what we can promise people is that they will become part of this parliament, because at the end of the day, the parliament represents these people. Another promise that we can do is that we will be pushing for laws that can impact their daily lives. In addition to the laws that we will be working and lobbying for, and we will be exposing any person who would put an obstacle to these laws, we will also, as Usus and Shamaluna, we will still be on the ground. We will be following up the issues that people are facing on local levels, whether the Kaza of Zgharta or the other surrounding Kazas. We will be on the ground visiting the place where we have issues. We will be holding press conferences. So what we will be doing is putting back the light on the local problems, which we had been deprived for many years now. So it's not only about being in the parliament, it's what being in the parliament can give us as a platform to highlight these issues, their issues.
Gotcha. So since you're running for the Zgharta district, uh, what are some of the major problems that people are facing currently?
Yes, there's so many issues. Yani, we don't know where to start because the state has been absent from the different regions for years. Municipalities have been corrupted, not working for local development. So I would say I would start by not having an economic cycle. That takes all of the Kaza. We're speaking a Kaza with more than 50 villages and cities. So there's no economic cycle that puts them together. You feel like it's small islands, and it became a residential, mostly a residential area, the whole district. So what we want to do is to create a local economy that is also linked to this surrounding of this district. We have Tripoli, which is one of the biggest cities in Lebanon with an amazing port, etc. So we want to create this development that would be a solution to another big problem we are facing, is that most of our youth is not in Lebanon anymore. They have left Lebanon, they live abroad. So, and we know that they are interested in investing their money in Lebanon, and this investment can be the door to them coming back. So this is another issue that we would like to tackle. Another one is the water. We are a district that is very rich in water, whether underground or surface water. So what we want to do is to fight the pollution that we had been witnessing over the years, and also preserving this resource and allowing people to have drinking water in their house. Yani imagine one of the richest areas in Lebanon with water has no water arriving to the people house. What we do is we go to the mountains, we fill tanks of water each week, and we go back and use this water. And it's the same water. So the state and the municipalities should have created a project to guarantee the water to the people's home. And another issue, because we believe that our people are attached to the district because of its beautiful environment, any development will not happen at the expense of this beautiful environment. So we will make sure to have a sustainable development in our district.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. Alrighty. We're getting close to finishing up our questions.
Yes.
We'd like to know, how can people support you if they wanted to support you? How can they support you?
They can support us in many ways. First of all, if they are part of our district, if they can support us and vote for us in the upcoming elections in May, for those who did not register for the primaries. Another way would be for Lebanese who are watching, who are even not from this Gaza, is to spread the word about Shamaluna, about USUS, about the great work and initiatives we are working on. And more importantly, if people can help us with the funding of our electoral campaign, at shamaluna.org, they can be donating to our campaign, and even USUS will be launching a donation campaign. So if people can reach out to us and support us financially, because we are facing a whole old structure, political structure and family structure in the upcoming elections, and we are people who do not accept money from any entity that can be linked to anything related to corruption. So these are ways to support us. Another way would be to join USUS. Because we are open to members from all over Lebanon. We started in this region because of elections, but we already have members from different areas in the north and in Lebanon, even from South Lebanon. So if they can join USUS, and if we can work together to even enhance the strategies that we have or the vision that we have.
Perfect. So just to clarify on that, so you mentioned you're not receiving any donations from any of the political parties or any political entity.
No,
Good. It's good
not
to know.
even political platforms that are working in Lebanon. We are trying to receive it from individuals who are interested in, and we are doing a vetting for the big amounts. If we see a big amount, we want to make sure it's coming from a reliable and trustworthy person. So that's why we would like, even if it's $20, $50, $100, it can make a difference if we receive it from thousands of people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
And we definitely respect that you're avoiding corrupt, support from corrupt entities or political uh, people. So, final question, last but not
Yeah.
least. So, if you didn't win this election,
Yeah.
will you continue your efforts with USUS and will you persist in battling corruption?
Yeah, definitely. That's the easiest question, easiest answer for me, because we had already been working since 2016 with the municipality elections. Then in 2018, we insisted on this political line, not going, leave it. And since October 17, we have been giving our time, and I can say most of our time. And now that we are we are a very big group, and we are attracting much more people. We are very excited to give more, and we are in fact looking forward to the end of the election, so we can start reworking more on the ground and having more offices in the Gaza outside the city of Zgharta. We already now are having new offices, and even outside Zgharta. And even with Shamaluna, there might be a certain kind of fusion, because there's also hundreds of activists in the other Gazas. So to be honest, we're looking forward to the end of election, and whether we win a seat or we don't win a seat, what we did for sure is that we started the change. We adopted an approach that was not adopted or seen before, especially in North Lebanon. And we really believe that the change has started, and it will only become bigger with time.
Thank you so much for answering that. Now, before we conclude with your final words and things like that, I'd like to open it up for any questions that anyone in the chat might have. If they would like to ask us anything, now's the time. So feel free to ask Shadan anything, please. Don't take too long because we are running out of time. And of course, if they were to ask any questions in the comment section once we post this video, you're more than welcome to answer. And of course, I encourage that.
There's a question, no, Omar, in the
I don't see it.
by Lebanon Uprising. They're saying Shamaluna is only introducing the candidates, right? It doesn't endorse the whole list. They just offer a platform to introduce candidates. So I would say yes, Shamaluna with the primaries, it's only a platform, but it's a fair and objective platform. Like if you visit Shamaluna's page, it does not make any difference between the different candidates. However, the groups who are part of Shamaluna have their own candidates, like Ossos and Zgharta, who have two candidates. These are the candidates of Ossos. We will see that the work for these candidates is done on Ossos platform, not on Shamaluna's one, because Shamaluna, for the primaries, has decided to be fair and objective for these elections.
Perfect. For some reason, I'm unable to see these questions. So, I mean,
لا, it's here.
please, if you just
لا,
take a look.
I think that's the only one that I'm able to see.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I am seeing that someone said, no questions, however, good luck. Thank you so much. Would anyone else like to ask Shedin any questions before we finalize this with her final words?
I think we can wrap it.
I believe so. And if there's
Yes.
any questions, guys, please feel free to comment after this video is posted, and I'm sure she'll do her best to answer. So, any last words before we conclude this? What would you like to let the people know?
First of all, thank you, Omar, for this discussion and for the opportunity you gave us. And the final words would be for the people watching is to actively take part in the elections in whatever way they can do, because Lebanon needs us. Yani, while we went through a collapse, but this collapse was, for us, it was a natural consequence of because of the policies and the choices made by the Lebanese in the past more than 30 years. So we believe in the change, but we need people to join our efforts and to support us in the ways that we mentioned before. So it's an invitation and a call for people to join our efforts in whatever way they can do it, and to and for those people who do not know or are not following up on the Lebanese scene, we really like, especially for the people who would go and vote for the traditional parties, to reconsider their options and to check what Lebanon really needs for the future. So that would be it. The result of the primaries are on Sunday. So I hope they follow up the result and the final list that Shamaluna will be announcing for the election in May 2022. And if anyone has a question, they can either send it to me on my social media, Facebook or Instagram, or also they can reach out to Usos or Shamaluna for questions.
Gotcha. Would you be able to take one more question? I think we have one more question from Lebanon Uprising.
Yes.
So, are you able to
Which
see?
vetting? Mm. It's the vetting, right?
Hmm?
So we can know. So vetting the candidates he means, or the voters, because there's a vetting for the two.
I'm assuming they're talking about the candidates.
Yes.
Letting
So
the-
already the candidates should be part of groups that are with the Saura. And before accepting them, we did, in fact, the governance committee did a homework to make sure that they have a good reputation. But at the end of the day, there's one thing that we should say, that Shamaluna or the groups, when they send invitation to other groups who are active or where we know that they had candidates, it's up to the group who is part of the revolutionary groups to be responsible of the person that they are offering to the people. Thus, in a certain to a certain we were يعني شمالنا cannot say no to a candidate that a group, a political known group, has decided to push forward, because this group assumes the responsibility of the candidate.
Got you. So people should do their homework too. Okay. Yes, I
Yeah,
mean,
definitely.
people definitely need to look into it before voting, of course. And
And Omar, for just to answer it also in another way, what happened during the primaries is that there's a website where they can see the profile of each candidate. With the profile, you can see the public debate between the candidates. You can see a Q&A with this candidate in addition to any further information. So people should do their homework, and we are not asking them to trust us fully. We are asking them to check the 5 candidates and decide based on the skills and knowledge of these people. So everything is presented for the voter to decide based on objective grounds.
got you. Understood. I really appreciate the clear answer. And Shadin, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate you joining us. And thank you so much for being as detailed as possible. And I wish you all the support, best of luck. And I look forward to the results on Sunday.
Thank you, Omar, and good luck with your work as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And this won't be the last time.
Yes,
Yes.
it
All
won't.
right. Take care and have a
You too.
great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.